This chapter will cover the fourth module, which is working with strings or use strings in Python, of the Python for Beginners tutorial available from learn.microsoft.com website. What this module covers is how to create strings and also how to transform strings. So let's just start with the basics. What a string is. Think of string as a character or a sentence or a word, and the way to create string is by enclosing the word, character, or sentence within quotes. So for example, if I create a variable called fact and include it in double quotes and say the moon has no atmosphere, and then I say, then this statement creates a string, a variable fact of type string. So to test it, it's not going to do anything, but if we just want to run the statement python example.py, it doesn't really do anything. But to check that it is of type string, what you do is you can call the inbuilt function type and pass it the variable you want to test the value of, or sorry, type of, so in this case fact. And if I now print it like this and save it and run it, I see that this fact is of type string. Now strings can be created in many ways. You can use double quotes. I can use fact, say single quote, and the way to do that will be use the two straight quotes and say that the moon has no atmosphere. And if I now print the type of fact single quote as well and run the program after saving it, you will see that they both are of type string. Another way is to use triple quotes. So you can also do fact triple quote, say for TQ. I can do something like this: the moon has no atmosphere, and three quotes again. And again, if I see its type, so fact triple quote, and I run the program after saving it, all these three are of type string. You might wonder why we need these different ways of doing things. So sometimes in your print statements you might want to use a single quote. So something like, say, if you want to say the moon's atmosphere is non-existing, let's say, then because there's a single quote in the print, if I use single quote here, then I will get an error. So if you have a single quote inside, if your print statement has a single quote, or if your print statement has a double quote, or if it has multiple lines, then it's better to use the double quote, single quote, or triple quotes to print those values. So if I, for example, run this, and they are of type string, if I just print it just to show how that it works, the single quote will work. And if I do Python, so you can see it is included the single quote without any error because I'm using double quotes here. The triple quotes are quite useful when you want to have multiple lines. So if I want to print something like the moon has no atmosphere, then a new line, and then I say Earth has atmosphere. And if I now print fact triple Q, then I save it and run it again, then as you see in this case, I can get a new line after the first line because I'm using triple quotes. So these are different ways in which you can create strings. Now the examples we have chosen so far, they all have we provided some value to it, and what we can do is we can once you have a string, you can also transform or change that string or get parts of that string. So in this example, let's take this one, the split one. So let's say I have let me just remove this. Let's say if I have a string like this, that is temperature is equal to daylight and then night light. So if I just copy it here, daylight and night, daylight and night time, and if I want to get the values of day night and night time, I want to get the different components of this string, then I can use a function called split, which is available inside the strings object. So I can do something like temperature list is equal to, I can take the string which is temperatures, and I can call a split function. Split, as the word says, it breaks the string, and by default it breaks the string using the space. So like between daylight and 260 there's a space between 260 and F, there's a space between F and night time. So it's going to pick up each of these. So it's going to pick up daylight, it's going to pick up 260 and F, and it's going to give me each of these components as in a list format. So I'll cover list in another video, but if I now print temperature list and run the program again, as you can see, I can now get individual components. Once I have individual components, I can start, I can do what I want to do with them. Another useful way could be to split them into, let's say get each line of a paragraph, for example. So if I have a paragraph, let's say a short passage which says moon has no temperature. Let me just do a triple quote because it's going to be there's going to be a new line in between, and I say Earth has, I should say atmosphere. If I want to do this and I want to get each of these lines, so I want moon has no atmosphere as one. I want to get this line, and I also want to get this line separately. Then I could do a split of. So let me call this lines, and if I can do a split on the passage, and now I can say that I want to break the passage on a new line character, which is a \n. So you include the new line character between these two quotes. And if I now do lines and save it and run, then I'm getting these two lines as let's say I'm getting these two lines as components in my list. So that's how you can work on on a string and transform it, get different values from it. And if you don't want to find out what methods are available to you within a string, go to docs.python.org and look for the string object. And in the documentation, it will show you all the different functions available in the string. So I use split, for example. Then the definition of split is string dot. String.split. So you can see that you can find all the methods available to you in the documentation. So going back to the tutorial, so that's your string methods, and then you will have an exercise. And in the exercise, you can basically just activate a sandbox and do one of these exercises. So this one was the getting, let's say, separating a paragraph into sentences, something very similar to what I showed you, that there are new line characters, and if you want to get each line of the passage, then you use split function followed by and mention that you want to split on the new line. Then so that's how you can do transformation. Another thing, what you have noticed is in all the examples I have shown, the strings were say hard-coded. There was all the values in the string were already available. I wasn't adding any external values. But many a times you might want to display a string and add and provide values for that string from outside the from somewhere else in the program. So for example, if I want to put something like on the moon you would weigh about some value, whatever percentage of your weight on Earth, and the value should come from another part of the program, say another variable, then I can do that by in many ways. I can do something like a percentage s means is, and then specify the value I want to add from other part of the program. So what this will do is we have created a variable called mass percentage, which is say 1/6, and it's a string because it's between double quotes. And in this string, I want the value of mass percentage as part of the string, and I would do that by specifying a placeholder, say %s, and then I will then specify the value from where this placeholder should pick the value. So it will come from mass percentage. So notice a percentage here. That's a format which Python interpreter expects. I can also specify multiple values. So like in this example, I want to say something like both sides of the something, a placeholder again, get the same amount of sunlight, and but only one side is seen from %s, which is another placeholder. So what I really want to say is this %s picks up value moon, then the second %x picks up value Earth. So I do that by using a similar format. In the main string, mention the placeholders, and then the values you want that placeholders to pick, use percentage brackets, and provide the values in order. And then you have another format, another inbuilt function of the string called format. Again, you can use the dot format function to specify the values. Instead of using %s in that case, you use the curly braces. So in these curly braces, the value will come from mass percentage. And if you have multiple values coming in, then specify the values as arguments of the format function. And then where you want the first value to go, just add 0. Where you want the second value to go, just add 1. And that's how you can provide values to a string from other variables. And one of my favorites is the f string, where the string starts with the letter f. Then you have your statements, and wherever you want to add value from outside, just use the curly braces and the variable name. And that's how you can mention values from outside. We can provide values from outside to a string. And then it's followed by an exercise. Again, you can activate the sandbox to test the value itself. And like this one, for example, create 3 variable names, name, gravity, and planet. And then it gives you an example how to do it. And then if you want to print something like this, you can have different ways now. You can use the %s, you can use format, you can use the f string to create these values. And you can try this out here. So let's say if I want to, the first thing I want to print is, so first I want to create 3 variables. So let me do it here. Name is equal to mid, then planet is equal to Mars. All these quotes mean they are string values. Gravity 1.43, and so I've taken these variables. The first thing I want to print is gravity facts about, and I want the value about gravity facts about Ganymede. So what I'll do is I just do a print gravity facts about. This is go as is, and now I want the name to come from the name variable. So I could do name, and because I'm using the f string format, I just add f in the beginning. And then I want these lines, so I can just do print. There's no value replacement there, so I can just do something like this to create that line. And then I want the next string to look like print. Let me try to use some other formats, say planet name colon, and I want the value to come now from planet variable. I can do a %s, for example, and then I can do a %, if you remember, and planet. So now the planet value should come from there. hopefully it will work. Let's see if I make a mistake. If I made a mistake, so that's one, and then I want to do a print again, gravity on. And let's say now I want to use format. So I will do something like, if you remember quotes, the colon, then this double quote, and meter per second square, and I want to now say dot format, and the arguments now go there. So the first will be gravity on name, and the other one will be gravity, and I will say I want the name to go here, so it's 0, this is 1, and let's see if this works. I'm not sure about why I have this red line, but let's see. So start the program. So invalid syntax, yeah, that's what I was worried about. Let me go back and see what it is. So if you get stuck, just go back to the previous one. It was about format, and I want to use the percentage, mass percentage. It looks all right. Percentage S. Oh, there was no comma, so I shouldn't have used a comma. So go to exercise again. So I had copied the code here. I should not use a comma. Yep, let's see if this works. Is it activated? Okay, Sandbox is activated. Yep. So now you can see I have used all these different ways, which is the F string, using percentage S, and using the format function to show you how you can provide the values. Then the last, I think, is your exercise, the knowledge check, and that's it. So a very simple tutorial on how you can do, how to use strings and format them or transform them in Python. Thanks for watching.